Okay, in the last lecture, we have discussed about the direct form implementation. First, we completed direct form structure and we completed with the block diagram representation as well as signal flow graph, as well as we have seen that how we can draw the or plot the transpose signal form or transpose block diagram for the direct form structure. Okay, so today we go for the another structure for the implementation of FIR filter. So that structure is known as a cascade form structure. So as the name suggests, instead of taking direct implementation of the equation, here we are dividing that equation into you can say we can into the divided structures into the SOR, or you can say second order FIR system. So in short, it is known as a second order FIR systems or SOS. So the cascade realization can be obtained by factorizing h of z into second order FIR systems. So whatever our h of z, or you can say transfer function, so instead of implementing that transfer function directly, we are dividing that transfer function for the values of k is equal to 1 to k and hk of z. So that is nothing but dividing one complete transfer form structure to second order FIR sections. So here the word I am using second order FIR system, or you can say it is known as a second order section. So in short, it may be written as a SOS in some of the examples. So that is second order sections. Okay, so here hkz, whatever hkz we have written, so here values of k is equal to 1 to k. So that will be nothing but bk0, bk1 z inverse plus bk2 z raised to minus 2, where k is nothing but values from 1 to k. Okay, so instead of implementing direct transfer function, the second order section of the transfer function are implemented. Here k is the integer part of m plus 1 by 2. So the filter parameters b0 may be equally distributed among the k filter sections. So that b0, initially we get the b0 coefficient, that b0 coefficient is equally distributed among the k filter section, that is b0 is distributed among the k number of sections. So we are getting the b10, b20 up to bk0, or it may be assigned to a single filter section. So this is optional thing. Whatever the initial term, that is b0, or you can say in filter coefficient, if I say that is h0, so either you can implement that particular parameter b0 or h0 directly, or you can divide that function to the k number of sections. Just a second. Okay, so the zeros of h of z are grouped into pairs to produce the second order FIR system of the form of equation 2. So whatever zeros of the h of z are grouped in pairs, so all the zeros are grouped in a pairs to make the second order FIR system of the form represented in the equation number 2. So this is our equation number 2. So we group the equation to realize, means we group the zeros of the h of z in such a way that they will produce the second order sections. So it is always desirable to form pairs of complex conjugate roots so that the coefficient bkz in equation 2 are real valued. So it is always desirable to form pairs for the complex conjugate roots so that the coefficient, whatever coefficient we are getting for filter, that is hkz or here bkz in equation 2 are real valued. On the other end, real valued roots can be paired in any arbitrary manner. So if the roots are real values, then they can be paired in any arbitrary manner. Okay, so this is nothing but a cascade form realization along with the basic second order section. So here x1, first term is we are taking the x1n, it is passed from the first filter coefficient h1z, we are getting the x2n, this x2n is and oh sorry, here we are getting y1n, so y1n is same as x2n. So x2n is nothing but the input for the second section, so second order section h2z, again you are getting y2n, so that is same as x3n. So this up to we have to apply this up to the yk minus 1 of n, so that is nothing but xk of n, and finally we produce the ykn, that is nothing but y of n, that is nothing but y of n. So instead of implementation or you can say direct implementation of equation. That equation is divided into second order function by pairing their zeros. So we are getting h1z, h2z up to hkz, and by passing your signal from that, you are getting the finally ykn, that is nothing but y of n. This is the another way representation of the equation. In this equation, we are written hkz is equal to bk0 plus bk1 z inverse plus bk2 z raised to minus 2. So this thing is shown over here. First is xkn, it passed from the bk0, first term over here, then it is delayed. So xkn minus 1, it is passed from multiplied with bkn, bk1 and added. Second, it is passed from the z inverse and bk2. Okay, why the terms up to 2 only? Because we divide the equation into second order section. Okay, so here m represent the order of the section. So here we divide that particular filter to m minus 1. So total is k0, k1 and k2. Okay, so here m is equal to 3. So m minus 1, that is nothing but the order of the filter. So this is a second order section. So whatever equation is given, you have to divide that equation in such a way that you are getting the second order section and implementing each section separately. So first you apply the xn to the second order section. It will give you the xk plus 1. Okay, which is same as yk of it. And then after you apply the yk plus 1 as a input, you are getting output, which is nothing but xk plus 2. So this way you have to proceed for the different sections which are connected in cascade, and finally you are getting the yk in just a second. So in this way you are getting the output, which is nothing but the outcome of this cascade structure. So this is nothing but the cascade realization of an FIR filter, FIR system. Okay, now we go. All of you clear about this? We solve few example related to this after completion of the two more structures. But basic thing is, I just summarize the points. Here, whatever h of z that is factorized into the this format means k is equal to 1 to k hkz. So means we divide the transfer function into k number of subsection. Each section is of second order section. So that is a SOS structure. In short, it is known as a SOS, second order structure. So here hkz is now represented as bk0, bk1 z inverse plus bk2 z raised to minus 2, where k is equal to 1 to k. Okay, here k's values are varying from 1 to k, but the multiplier you can see here z raised to 0, z raised to minus 1 and z raised to minus 2, because here we have to obtain the second order section. And whatever b0 parameter or h0 or initial parameter, so that parameter either we can implement as a single as a coefficient of single filter, or we can divide that among the k number of section like this. B0 is equal to b10, b20 up to bk0. So this is the optional thing. Either you apply this to a single filter section, or you can distribute it to the k number of filter sections. Okay, so here we are making the pairs of zeros. So finally we are getting this structure. So this is a complete structure, and this is what first structure represent to you. If I write this first structure, this is representation of this. Okay, xkn is given as input, bk0 coefficient first one, then it is delayed, you are getting bk multiplied with bk1, that is added, then again it is delayed, so that is to minus 2 multiplied with bk2, you are getting this. So after every section you are getting the output for the output from that section, which will nothing but the input for the next section. So this ykn is nothing but the input for the next section, that is k plus 1. So in this way it is cascaded, and finally it will produce the output y of n. Okay, all of you clear about this or having any query? If anybody have any query related to cascade form structure, please ask. And more about the structure and how you will implement, that we will learn in the examples that we will solve after completion of two more structures. Okay, let us go for the another structure, that is frequency sampling structure. Okay, so in the frequency sampling realization structure, the parameter that characterize the filter
are the values of desired frequency response instead of the impulse response. So as you have seen in previous case, we are taking the impulse values h of n, hn, h0, h1, h2, h3. But here the difference is we can characterize that the filter are the values of the desired frequency response instead of the impulse response h of. So we obtain the frequency response instead of the impulse response. So to derive the frequency sampling structure, we specify the desired frequency response at a set of equally spaced frequencies. So what we do, so to derive the frequency sampling structure means whatever unit circle is given to you, if I plot that value in the Z transform or Z domain, you are getting some unit circle. So that unit circle is now divided, equally divided into the frequencies. So in general, it is known as a omega k is equal to 2 pi by m into k plus pi. So in general, this equation we wrote earlier also, that is omega is equal to 2 pi by m. Okay, if I write in general format, 2 pi by m. Okay, m is nothing but number of points you require. So you divide the entire spectrum or entire unit circle by the m number of points. Okay, but here the value k is introduced as well as alpha is introduced over here. So omega k is equal to 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. So the value of k you have to consider, if m is given odd values, then k is equal to 0, 1 up to m minus 1 divided by 2. If m value, m whatever means number of points whatever we have taken, that is even, then k is equal to 0, 1 up to m by 2 minus 1. So this is the only change. The value of k you have to consider by this value 0 to m minus 1 by 2 if m is odd. If m is even, then m by 2 minus 1. And value of alpha, the two options are there. Either you can take alpha is equal to 0 or 1 by 2. Okay, so for these two new terms, these are the values we have to take. M odd, then this particular equation, m even, then this particular equation, and alpha having value 0 or 1 by 2. Okay, so solve for the unit sample response h of n from this equally spaced frequency specification, and the frequency response can be written as, so this is a general equation of frequency response, h omega is equal to sigma n is equal to 0 to m minus 1. Suppose we are taking m number of points, then n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of n into e raised to minus j omega n. Okay, so this is nothing but we are applying the unit response as an input and we are obtaining the frequency response. So this is the frequency response and this is your nothing but sample response or impulse response. So h omega is obtained from this sample response by applying this particular equation, and the values of h omega, whatever values of h omega we are getting at frequencies omega k is equal to 2 pi by m into k plus alpha are simply. Now we are not interested only for the single value of the means we are not interested to the complete frequency response. We need frequency response at equally spaced points. Okay, so that we are getting by applying this equation. Here instead of omega we are taking omega k, so that is nothing but 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. So if I replace this term with this 2 pi by m into k plus alpha, so here h of k plus alpha is introduced. So h of k plus alpha is nothing but h of 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. So in this equation I am replacing the notations. So sigma n is equal to 0 to m minus 1, h of n remain as it is, but here instead of k now you are writing k plus alpha. Okay, so here e raised to minus j 2 pi k plus alpha into n. Here this is nothing but omega. Omega is 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. So the entire term we have written over here. J 2 pi k plus alpha into n divided by m. And the values of k are from 0 to m minus 1. So the set of values h of k plus alpha are called the frequency samples of h of omega. Okay, now here values of k means values of k you are taking from 0 to m minus 1. So for each value of k, what happen? You are finding the DFT for that particular point only. Okay, so in this case what happen? You whatever response you are getting, it is nothing but a frequent response for a one particular sample. So it is known as a frequency samples of h omega. So instead of getting h omega at once, we are taking the samples of that. So each value of this k will give you the sample value of h omega. So that's why this the set of values h of k plus alpha are called the frequency samples of h of omega. So here we are taking k is equal to 0 to m minus 1, means total m number of samples we are getting. Okay, so where alpha is equal to 0, if we are assuming alpha is equal to 0, then h of k correspond to the m point DFT of h of n. So if I assume that this alpha, so as we have seen, alpha having the two value, either 0 or 1 by 2. So if we assume alpha is equal to 0, so in such case what happen, h of k, whatever h of k, so now this hk plus alpha will become h of k. Okay, let me write over here this h of k. And if you simplify this equation, what you are getting, h of n into e raised to minus j2 pi. Here this equation will be k into, this term will be removed, k into n by m. This is the same equation we have written for the DFT. We have written the equation like this, x omega. This was our earlier equation for the DFT. That is n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 x of n into e raised to minus j 2 pi k into n divided by m. So this was the equation we are using for the calculation of DFT from the given sequence x of n. Now same equation is written but in terms of impulse response. Impulse response is given as an input and you are getting the frequency response. So that is h of k. Now instead of x of k, sorry, here x of omega not there, but x of k. So x of k instead of x of k, now you are getting h of k, and this term is replacing this x of n. So that is h of n, and you are getting this equation. So for where the values of alpha is equal to 0, h of k correspond to the m point DFT of h of n. So it will provide you the m point DFT for h of n. Okay. So in many of the books, let me clear this point. In many of the books, you get the calculation that is h of k plus alpha in this format. That is given in the Procase and another books. But in other books like Shalivahan, or you can go for the Oppenheim and Schaeffer, they initially assume this alpha is equal to 0 and they shown the calculation in h of k form only. So at the end, what happened? This term is totally removed at the initial. But in Procase book, they have taken this alpha term in the consideration, and at the end they put the assumption alpha is equal to 0 or alpha is equal to 1 by 2. If alpha is equal to 0, this term is removed. So there is a little confusion when you go for the few reference books. In that reference book, this term is not visible because initially they assume that we are calculating with the assumption alpha is equal to 0 only. So they were shown the calculation for alpha is equal to 0 and only the equation in the h of k form are given. Okay, so all of you clear up to this? These are the initial explanation of frequency sampling structure. So in frequency sampling structure, let me revise again. So in the frequency sampling structure, the simple meaning is instead of taking the impulse response, we are taking the frequency response, but not the entire frequency response, but frequency response for k number of samples, and where the values of k are from 0 to m minus 1. Okay, so we divide the entire unit circle by the values of k. Okay, so when you do this, what happened? This h of omega, this is nothing but the equation of frequency response, but instead of taking the entire value, now you are taking this coefficient k. So that is h of k plus alpha, that is equal to h of 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. When you replace this, what happened? This particular equation will give you the output, that is nothing but frequency samples of h omega. Frequency samples of h omega means initially if you plot the h omega, what happened? You are getting this in this type of output. Just a second. If you plot in the unit on the this unit circle, then this type of continuous output you are getting the output for h omega. Okay, these values are discrete, but this will produce the h omega in a continuous one. But now what happened? We are defining the k values, that is 0 to m minus 1. So which will divide this unit circle into equally spaced points, or you can say the samples. So you are getting the sampled output. So that's why the term used, this h of k plus alpha will give you the frequency samples of h omega. Okay, so and if you consider the special case, that is alpha is equal to 0, if I am applying the alpha is equal to 0, as we have seen that this equation is same as the DFT equation, which will produce the DFT or m point DFT for the given h of n. Okay, all of you clear up to this? If anybody have any query, you can please ask. Anybody have any queries? Please let me know so I can proceed. All of you clear up to this? Okay, hk plus alpha part. Okay, okay. So here hk plus alpha. Here earlier we have written what we have taken. We have defined the two new terms, that is k plus alpha. Okay, so here we are taking k alpha is equal to 0 or it is equal to 1 by 2. Okay, so it will, we will see that in the future. If your filters are symmetric or is not symmetric, then we can choose any of the value. But at present we are showing the k plus alpha part. So what we are doing, we are dividing this entire h omega with this values of k only, k plus alpha. So alpha, if it is your filter is symmetric one, so at that time we are taking the 1 by 2. If it is anti-symmetric, then we are taking the value 0. Okay, so at present this h of k plus alpha, so simply you have to understand that instead of taking h omega, means the entire frequency response, we are dividing the frequency response into the k number of samples. Okay, and that division is 2 pi by m into k plus alpha. So by that particular sampling frequency, we are dividing that particular output. So instead of getting the entire frequency response, you are getting the frequency response for each sample. So when you are getting the frequency response, so that is nothing but discrete Fourier transform. Okay, so that is discrete Fourier transform means you can say the DFT we are getting. So when we get the DFT from this particular equation, so that is a frequency samples of h of omega, and you are getting the m point DFT. Why? Because the values of k are from 0 to m minus 1. So it will give you the output for m number of points, or k is equal to 0 to 1 m minus 1. So this part, if in this particular case, if I ignore alpha, value of alpha, or I am taking the alpha is equal to 0, so then what happen? I am getting directly relation between this equation and the equation we derived earlier, that is the m point DFT. Okay, so this will give you the m point DFT of h of n. So this equation is same as your equation of DFT. Okay, so here k plus alpha means we are taking the two new terms, that is k means nothing but we are dividing the entire frequency response into k number of samples, and this alpha value is depending on the type of filter we are using. Okay, so initially we assume alpha is equal to 0, and whatever calculation we are doing, same calculation can be applicable when we are taking alpha is equal to 1 by 2. Okay, hope you clear, Ekta. If you are still you are having the query, you can unmute and you can please ask. Am I audible to all? Okay, okay. Okay, now so it is a simple method. So now here we obtain first h of n is given. We obtain the frequency response of that. Now here again, from this frequency response, again we have to obtain the original signal for each sample. Okay, from this. So now here we are applying the inverse DFT. So that is mentioned. It is a simple method to invert equation 1. So whatever equation 1 we have written, let me erase all the ink. Okay, this is your equation 1. This equation for DFT. So it will give you the output, that is, hello, anybody having any query, you can please ask. I got some voice over there. Anybody unmuted or having any query, you can please ask. Okay. So here whatever we are getting, that is a DFT. Our input signal is time domain. We convert it into the frequency domain, but our outcome must be that is in the time domain. So what we have to do here, it is a simple matter to invert equation 1 and express h of n in terms of the frequency samples. Now here whatever h of z we obtain, that is h of z we obtain, or h of omega we obtain, that is for each sample. Now we converting that into the by applying IDFT into the h of n. So this h of n can be obtained by this inverting that equation, that is 1 by m sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha into n divided by m. And this is the same equation we have applied for the IDFT. Only the change is here this plus alpha term is there. If I take the alpha is equal to 0, this equation is same as your IDFT, which is mentioned over here. When alpha is equal to 0, above equation 2 is simply the IDFT of h of k. Okay, so now if we use equation 2 to substitute for h of n in the z transform. Now what we are doing, we are taking this equation 2 and substitute for h of n. So now to obtain h of n, we have done this procedure, and in the original equation of h of z, we are putting this value of h of n. Okay, so this h of n in the z transform of h of z. Now we go for the structure implementation. So our equation of h of z is sigma n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of n into z raised to minus n. Okay, so now here you have to apply the value of this h of n. So I am applying the value of this h of n over here. I request all of you to take a notebook and note down the equation and its derivation, because in your book only 2 steps are mentioned. We go for the derivation of entire equation. So I request all of you to take the notebook and pen and please note down the derivation. As you are writing with me, the things will be more clear. So h of z is equal to sigma k is equal to 0 to n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of n z raised to minus n. So here you have to apply this value from this equation to h of n. So now your equation having the terms n is equal to 0, sigma n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 into 1 by m, then again sigma, here summation from k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha into e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha n divided by m into z raised to minus n. This is the equation number 2. Okay, all of you please start writing at least from this equation. As finished, just comment. I change this, I go to the next slide and provide you the detailed derivation. Okay, Jinendra, you written. Okay, all of you written this first expression or equation. Please let me know. Then I go for the next slide. Okay, at least 3 of you comment. You have done it. Then I can go for the next slide. And I request all of you to don't just instead of writing, don't go for the slide directly. Try to solve it parallel with me. As I am writing the steps, you also note down the step in the notebook. Then it is very easy to understand. Otherwise, you are getting the confusion between this derivation. Okay, I hope all of you are written. At least few of you, please comment. If you're completed, then I go for the next slide. All of you written or not? Okay. Okay. Now let us go for the next slide. So by interchanging the terms, interchanging the order of the two summations. So here the summation orders are n is equal to 0 to m minus 1. Please not no need to write this equation. In between this we write the complete derivation. Just I am showing you what you are given in your book directly. So here we are changing the order of the summation and performing the summation over the index n. So here they change the order of this summation. Earlier it was n is equal to 0 to m minus 1. So this summation is written first, k is equal to 0 to m minus 1, then h of k plus alpha term, then the second term is 1 by m, summation n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 into e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into j raised to minus 1 raised to 1. Okay, just note down this equation only, no need to write this equation at present. Okay, only note down this equation. Okay, so in this they are changing the first step is interchanging the summation order. So instead of n is equal to 0 to m minus 1, they change the order. So k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 first and n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 second. Okay, so when we apply this change, we are getting this equation. Another task is only written, that is performing the summation over the index n value. We obtain this. Okay, we will discuss how we obtain this in the next slide. Just keep this equation in your mind, no need to note down at present. Is equal to 1 minus z raised to minus m into e raised to z 2 pi alpha by m sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 into hk plus alpha divided by 1 minus e raised to z 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse. So the system function h of z is characterized by the set of frequency samples h of k alpha instead of h of n. So now what happened? In previous case, whatever h of z, that is characterized by h of n directly. But when you apply the value of h of n over here, what happened? Whatever h of z we are getting, that is nothing but it is now characterized by the frequency samples h of k plus alpha. So this will be depending on this h of k plus alpha value. And here we can divide this structure into two parallel, or you can say the cascade structure. One is this one is known as the H1Z. Okay, second one is H2Z. Okay, so here this is nothing but the parallel way to structure, or you can say in this FIR filter as a cascade of two filters. First one is H1Z, which is this one, and second one is H2Z. So when we do the cascading of these two structure, it will give you the frequency sampling structure. Okay, now let us write down the derivation of this equation into this, how we obtain this. Okay, equations are visible to you because I have taken the photograph or whatever equation I have solved over here. I hope it is visible to you. So initial h of z is equal to sigma n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of n into z raised to minus n. This is the equation of h of z is given. Now we substitute the value of h of n. I think we have written up to this equation, h of z, this value. This is equation number 1. Now interchanging the order of summation in the above equation. So here we are interchanging the equation, summation order. So here n is equal to 0 to m minus 1 and here k is equal to 0 to m minus 1. This I think we already written. So k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 and n is equal to 0 to m minus 1. Up to this we have completed. Now this equation, the second task is written in your equation is, just a second. this task is performing the summation over the index n. So that term is, the meaning of this is, that is known as a generic series formula. So geometric series formula. So here that is sigma n is equal to 0 to n, a of n, a raised to n. So if this type of series is given to you, the solution is 1 minus a raised to n plus 1 divided by 1 minus a. Okay, so instead of this a value, we apply the value which is available in our equation, that is e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha into n divided by m into z inverse. So we replace the value of a into this geometric series formula. So a is equal to e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha into n divided by m into z inverse. Okay, so now we apply this value in our second summation, that is starting from n is equal to 0 to m minus 1. So first summation is k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 hk plus alpha, that as it is multiplied with 1 by m. Now for this particular term we are applying this geometric series formula, that is 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse divided by 1 minus e raised to z 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse raised to m. Okay, as a second step, sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha into 1 upon m, and we are taking this further simplification. So whatever raised to m means here raised to n is given, a raised to n plus 1. In this case what happened, our n was 0 to m minus 1, n value is nothing but m minus 1, and we added plus 1 with it. So now what happened, you can write this n is equal to m for this particular case. So that's why here you notice the notation is capital N, but here I am using the notation m. This is the reason, because n is equal to m minus 1 in our this particular case, or whatever equation we are using, the value of n is from 0 to m minus 1. So maximum value is m minus 1. Here maximum value is, you can see the n. Okay, so here n is nothing but m minus 1. So here as per the equation what we have to write, m minus 1 plus 1. So n, the value of n is m minus 1 plus 1. So you are getting n is equal to m. So that's why I am writing the raised to m over here. And when you simplify it further, you are getting 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha into z raised to minus m divided by 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse. Okay, so now I am separating this equation into two parts. First part I am taking over here. So that is k is equal to 0 to m minus 1, 1 minus z raised to minus m into e raised to j 2 pi alpha into e raised to j 2 pi k. This is nothing but expansion of this equation. 1 minus z raised to minus m, this time I am writing over here, into e raised to j 2 pi k into e raised to j 2 pi alpha divided by m. And second term is h of k plus alpha divided by 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m. All of you please note down these steps, and if you are having any query you can ask. Yeah, query in 23rd slide. Yeah, tell me Jinendra, what is the query?
Sir,
In
second last step we are writing
yes.
मतलब m का जो पावर है उसको हम 1 माइनस e टू द पावर 2 पाई k प्लस अल्फा में डाल रहे हैं, तो वो 1 की पावर भी तो मतलब ये इक्वेशन कैसे है?
कौन सा, ये लास्ट वन और सेकंड लास्ट वन?
सेकंड लास्ट वन.
Okay, here what I am writing this as hk plus alpha as it.
सर 1 माइनस e टू द पावर 2 पाई k प्लस अल्फा इनटू z टू द पावर माइनस m लिखा हुआ है.
I am coming to that, just wait. hk plus alpha as it is, 1 minus m as it is. Here 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m. Okay, and into z raised to minus 1. And when I'm multiplying this term with m, okay, so then what happen? This mm will be cancelled out. So you are getting
Yes,
e
sir.
raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha only, and z raised to minus 1. It is multiplied with this one. So you are getting z raised to minus m.
ये सर उतना ठीक है, बट वो मतलब फॉर एग्जांपल अगर m इक्वल्स टू 2 है तो a स्क्वायर प्लस b स्क्वायर प्लस 2a भी होना चाहिए ना, मैं वो बोल रहा था फॉर एग्जांपल, वैसा नहीं दिख रहा है
कहाँ
इसीलिए
पे
डाउट।
बोल रहे हो तुम?
मैम सर जो आपने लास्ट बताया ना अभी ये इक्वेशन का डेरिवेशन 1 माइनस, तो उसमें मान लो फॉर एग्जांपल m इक्वल्स टू
Okay,
2 है।
okay, sorry. Just a second, Janendra. That query is raised from my wrong putting of this bracket over here. This is 1 minus a raised to n plus alpha. So here no bracket over here, you can see.
या
One
सॉरी
is
सर,
separate
मैंने भी
and this
देखा है।
one. Yeah. This is my typo error, you can say. Here you can write this bracket over here.
यस
Okay?
सर,
Raised
यस
to n.
सर।
Okay, now I got it. Okay, now all of you please note down the derivation. Then we go for the next slide.
Sir, one more query.
Yeah.
Sir, we have written a equal to e to the power j 2 pi k plus alpha n by m. That should be only k plus alpha by m.
Yes. A is equal to e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha raised to n by m. Okay.
That should mean there should not be n over there, because when we go for the summation, we'll go for a to the power n and we'll get this formula.
Here I'm using the small n over here. Whatever we are using in our equation is smaller n. This is not the capital N.
So the formula
Here-
for geometric series, there must be a to the power small n, no? Otherwise, the answer would be different. It would be n a to the power n.
Okay, so here the term will be e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m only.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I will check that. Okay. Okay. I think there is 2 n. Okay. Yeah, you can. These are the two changes. Here you can replace erase this, and another is just a second. Let me erase all the n and provide you the corrections. Here no need to write this n, and here you have to apply this bracket over here. No need to apply over here. Okay. All of you please complete the derivation up to this. Then we go for the next slide. All of you completed derivation up to this. As you finish, please comment. So at least when I'm getting the few comments, then I go for the next slide. Okay. Okay. So as I'm getting few comments, I hope all of you have completed that. So now we go for the next steps. So here the term whatever we have written, that is e raised to j 2 pi k, e raised to j 2 pi k. So if we expand this e raised to j 2 pi k, so that is nothing but cos 2 pi k plus j sin 2 pi k. The value of this term will be 1. So that term can be replaced with the value 1. So this will be our final equation. H of z is equal to 1 minus z raised to minus m into e raised to j 2 pi alpha divided by m into sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha divided by 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse. Okay, so this is our final equation, whatever equation it written in that particular slide earlier. So this particular part is nothing but the first section, that is h1z, and this will be the second section, that is h2z. And when we implement that, it will give you the output that is nothing but the frequency sampling structure. Because here instead of taking h of n, we are taking the h of k plus alpha, means whatever samples of that particular impulse response or frequency response that we are considering over here. So that's why this structure is known as a frequency sampling structure. Implementation based on the frequency samples, not directly from the frequency response or the impulse response. Okay, all of you clear up to this? Please note down these last two equations. Okay, so as we have seen this was the derivation, we got it. 1 minus z raised to minus m e raised to j 2 pi alpha divided by m, and this is one the sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z raised to minus 1. Okay, so now the next section is, okay, so one first response whatever we have written, that is h1z. The meaning of this is nothing, it is a one is all zero filter, because only the numerator part exists which represent the poles and no denominator part is there, so it is known as a all zero filter or a comb filter with system function. The system function is 1 minus m into 1 minus z raised to minus m e raised to j 2 pi alpha. Its zeros are located at equally spaced point on the unit circle. So whatever zeros we are getting, these are equally spaced at the unit circle, and the equation of this z of k means if I am writing instead of z, I am writing z of k. So e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m. So values of k's are from 0 to m minus 1. So whatever zeros you are getting, they are equally spaced on the unit circle, and these for these many samples you are getting the these many zeros, means m number of zeros you are getting. So the filter with system function and the filter with system function, second filter whatever we taken, we divided that filter into two, one h1z and h2z. So that h2z is sigma k is equal to 0 to m minus 1 h of k plus alpha divided by 1 minus e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m into z inverse. Now we discuss about the second one. It consists of a parallel bank of single pole filters with resonant frequencies. It consider the parallel bank of filters having single pole filters with resonant frequency. Here we define this resonant frequency as p of k is equal to e raised to j 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m, k is equal to 0 to m minus 1. So as you can see, the location of pole and location of zeros both are similar. So not that the poles locations are identical to the zero location, and that both occur at the same samples, that is omega k is equal to 2 pi k plus alpha by m. which are the frequencies at which the desired frequency response is specified. So when we obtain the frequency response and when we find out the poles and zeros for this particular case, what happened? The location of poles and zeros are identical and both are occurring at the same frequency location or angular frequency omega k 2 pi k plus alpha divided by m. So the gains of the parallel bank of resonant filters are simply the complex valued parameter. Whatever gains of these resonant filters are complex valued parameters h of k plus alpha. This cascade realization is illustrated in figure. So okay, so when you implement this particular equation, this is the first part. I can say h1z. Okay, h1z having the value this now you go for this equation 1 by m into 1 minus z raised to minus m e raised to j 2 pi alpha. So this is the first part. 1 by m is the scaling one and e raised to minus j 2 pi alpha and z raised to minus m is the delayed or multiplier, and the value of a what you have to take is a is equal to 0 or 1 by 2. In many of the books, if you go for this diagram, this term will be not mentioned because they are taken alpha is equal to 0. So when you take alpha is equal to 0, so e raised to 0 having 1 value, so here it is shown minus 1 only, so they are using the minus sign over there. Okay, so don't confuse this because here we are shown the general case where alpha is equal to 0 or 1 by 2 as per your Prockies or textbook. In many of the books, this term is not given. Why? Because they have taken the case alpha is equal to 0 only. Okay, and whatever the second part, that is h2z. As we have seen that h2z is nothing but the filter, it represents some type of filter bank. So first coefficient is h of alpha and the multiplier is e raised to j 2 pi alpha by m. It is delayed by z inverse. In second case, we are taking 1 plus alpha, then 2 plus alpha, up to the last value is h of m minus 1 plus alpha. Okay, so these are the this is nothing but the implementation of frequency sampling structure, or you can say frequency sampling realization of FIR filter. H1z, which is implemented like this, H2z, which is implemented with the parallel bank of filters. Okay, as I told you, if you are looking or reading from the another book, in that books this alpha parameter is taken as 0. So in this case also you are getting this term is mentioned as minus 1 only, and in this cases they have mentioned alpha 0, h0, h1, h2 and up to the last term. Okay, so this is the only change you are getting this, so don't confuse. They are taken only the alpha is equal to 0 case. I am taking here this general case because this is mentioned in your standard textbook, that is Prockies. Okay, all of you clear up to this? Okay, so some more things we have to discuss about this structure, and one more example related to that we will cover in the next lecture.